Yeah. So, what did it look like after Nashville? Coming out of the whole drama, a I speak for myself and probably some of the others. Drama is not what I signed up for. It's not what I enjoy. The way we looked at it was again, the only thing we were guilty of was being amateurs at some of this. And I had a chip on my shoulder about it at the time, and I was like, we're here trying to do something good, not getting paid for it, spending our own time creating this, which is evolving into success for other people. We mess up, and this is how it works. That was the first reaction. But then I started realizing that the people that were accusing weren't of the best. They didn't want this to happen. They look now. What I know is some of them were involved with other associations that saw this rebel movement as a distraction to what they were trying to build. That's one part of it. The other part was just intellectually amateurish people that like to watch things burn. That's all it was. So had to really get my head back into the game to try to figure out what this was. And at this point, I'm asking the question is, why are we going through so much stuff for something that we just built? And by the way, I said all along a few things. I never wanted to be front of the camera. I wanted to be behind the camera. I never sought out to be a figure or an icon or whatever. All the terms that people label when you try to get in front of something and do substantial stuff. Now, is there a way to do it to not be that way? There probably is. But again, I'm not a pro at it. So the next year after Nashville, we realized a few things, and we started to try to rebuild Rome. But it wasn't built in a day. It wasn't built in a one millennium. It took a long time. But the truth was, it never really recovered after that. After Nashville, we cleaned house, got rid of some people that weren't aligned with what we were trying to do, got real tight with our message. We made a mission and vision and core values. And again, this was starting to look a lot like a company. And we didn't want that. I didn't want that. I didn't want this to be turn into a company or a job, because I think that's when you lose a little bit of the ability, the grassroots. It was always built to provide a place and a narrative of independence, to try to encourage best practices and be the best restorer you could be, so that on the flip side, you could have a wall of defense against all the third parties, and you could represent your customer better and empower them better and provide a better product. But what I saw in this industry then, and I see it now more than ever, is we spend a large amount of our time defending our bill instead of doing the work. And especially from a leadership ownership standpoint, we send a team out to do the work, and that work is inconsistent. We don't have processes and systems and procedures and a way of doing things. But what we do know is that we need you to document that job, because the adjuster is going to call, and we need you to do everything in the world to document that job, which is important. Getting paid for your work is paramount. But I find, and I've been a big advocate of saying that we're doing a lot of the work for the insurance company for them, so that they don't have to send people out to these mitigation jobs from an adjuster standpoint. So The Rebels was always about empowerment, encouragement, and community. It was pretty much those three things. Help those that we need help, give a place for those that want to help to do so. And higher level, we had some other big goals, and one that I still carry today, which was to make this a trade. But the rebel movement was just, we didn't know what we were doing then. We weren't young restorers, but we were definitely young in this game, and it grew. And I remember us being really excited about it crossing over. And I'd say after Nashville, we probably crossed over 1,000 or 1,500 people. And that was pretty cool. We often said it's not about how many people we have, it's how many of the right people we have part of the Rebels. Some people didn't see things that way, and there was an ego involved to put as many dots on the map as possible. We let in a few people that year into the organization, or they already had been, that weren't of good character and integrity, and there were internal warnings and objections about that, and that ended up becoming true. So it really was it was a confusing little era of everything was kind of starting to run by committee, but it wasn't. It was losing the focus of what we were trying to do. So rebuilding was tough, just like anything without alignment. But the year after Nashville, we learned a lot. We also learned that 200 people, we lost that thing. That was a big show, and a lot of people still talk about going and having a great time, and that was their first glimpse of what the movement was about. But that was a little too big. We loved and I'd say in the next year following up in Boulder, we had probably the best, besides the first one being great, it always being the first. Boulder was probably the best. We figured some things out. We'd gotten really focused. It was just really warm, really inviting and engaging, and it really propelled us a lot for the next chapter, if you will, the next thing we were going to become.